Before I, Alex 31M, get into the problem, I'm going to give a quick update on what the last year and a half since my last post has been like. It's been great. We have really reconnected as a couple. We've been on a few vacations, I am spending more time with friends and family, and our communication has never been better. She, Olivia 31F, is still seeing Asher, 25M, and still lying about it. I pay very little attention to that. I haven't looked at her messages with anyone in probably the last year. Honestly, I don't know how she keeps up with it. I figured out from their messages, and assuming they are still going like this, that she sleeps with Asher 1 to 3 times a week. I know from first-hand experience she sleeps with me 3 to 5 times a week. That does not include the random messing around we do. Now I don't want it to seem like we don't still have arguments and disagreements. We fight a little bit, some of our old issues creep back in there sometimes. The difference is now we talk them out, we get over them faster, and we show each other respect when we share our feelings. Our current issues began when I noticed that my wife had been on the phone quite a bit with a friend of hers, Cody 31F. After the 3rd or 4th consecutive day of her being on the phone with this friend for upwards of an hour, I finally had to ask what was going on. Cody just figured out that her husband, Channing 32M, was having an affair for the last 3 months. They had been married for 10 years. Making matters worse, his affair partner is Cody's 19-year-old first cousin, Michaela. I went back and looked through Olivia's messages with Cody, and unless she has said it over the phone, Olivia has not let Cody know that she is having an affair. Everything would have been fine if I could have kept my dumb mouth shut. Olivia went into this tirade about how awful Channing was for being an adulterer. I was shaking my head with a dumb grin on my face when she noticed. Olivia kind of snapped, "What, you don't agree?" I couldn't contain it and blurted out, "You're one to talk." Her whole demeanor changed, and she started to press me for what I was talking about. I at first tried to deny it and apologize. She wasn't having it, she just kept pressing me. That's when I told her that I knew about her affair with Asher. She asked me how long, and I said the entire time it's been going, back when it was just innocent messages about work. She asked me why I just let it go on, and I told her, because I didn't care. She completely broke down crying and ran into our bedroom at that point. She locked the door behind her. It was pretty late at night at this point. I was messaging her trying to get a response, trying to get her to talk to me about what just happened. She only sent me one message that read, "Please leave me alone, I need time." I slept on the couch in the basement for the first time in over a year. The next morning she left for work earlier than normal. I checked her messages. She contacted Asher that night and ended things with him. He was blowing up her phone trying to get answers, and she was blocking him on everything he tried. When she got home that night I was waiting. She just looked at me and went into our bedroom. She locked the door behind her. I went to sleep on the couch again and was awoken at around 1 a.m. She came in and laid down next to me and just cried. I held her for maybe 15 to 20 minutes while she just let it all out. She began apologizing profusely, and self-deprecating. I told her to stop, that she wasn't all these horrible things she was saying. I knew, and I didn't say anything. I didn't think less of her and still loved her completely. She asked me how I knew, and I came clean about my surveillance apps. She was hurt by this but strongly conflicted. She was telling me she felt this intense invasion of privacy that she was having a hard time processing. At the same time she was betraying me, and feels that she deserved this. That I asked why she locked herself away for 2 days. She told me, "When you said, I don't care, it just all flooded into me all at once that I spent years believing you didn't care about me, it was just too much at that moment. It was a crazy and emotional conversation, but we eventually fell asleep together on my couch. She took the next 2 days off and we went over everything that had happened in our relationship. We talked about how bad things got after COVID. My indifference and unwillingness to change. My surveillance of her phone. We talked about how much I have changed over the last couple years. We spent a huge amount of time going over her affair, more details than I actually cared to hear, which was surprising because I hadn't had even the slightest emotional response up until this point. I asked her why she started the affair, and she said because he paid attention to her, but also she assumed we would be divorcing. She loved the attention and validation, especially after years of being ignored. She remembers she would try to get me to do things with her, even things that I used to like. I would usually turn her down, and on the rare occasions that I didn't, it was always like I wanted to hurry through it so I could get back home and get back on my games. She was totally right about my behavior at that time. I should also say she wasn't trying to justify her behavior, just explain to me what she was thinking at the time. After she slept with him for the first time, she knew we needed to divorce. She got this idea for one last test to see if our relationship was even remotely salvageable. That was when she invited me on the hike and picnic. She never thought in a million years would I agree to go. When I did, she was shocked, but also figured I'd be trying to make it quick. Then I didn't, and we had a wonderful day. She thought she should continue to make an effort, and all of a sudden I was responding and making an effort myself. I interjected during this part and asked, why after everything got better between us, did you keep up with the affair? She held nothing back in her responses. I was just selfish, I liked having it all and didn't want it to stop. I actually feel bad for stringing him along, I am pretty sure he is in love with me. I cut in once more, and how did you feel about him? Olivia, I definitely have feelings for him, but not like with you. I guess you could call it love-like, but really what I loved was the attention and I didn't want to give it up. Once I had you back, and we were really enjoying each other again, I knew I should end things, but I didn't want to. I was spending time with the man I loved, and that meant a ton to me, but I was also selfish, and allowing this other person to shower me with attention. I used all the cliché justifications to myself, coming clean will just hurt Alex, I'm in too deep to stop, I deserve it, and so on. I asked, did you ever feel guilty? Olivia, all the time, but having it all was more important to me. I responded, did you have it all? She continued, in my mind I did, if I'm being totally open, yeah I think I did. I had you, and we were enjoying each other more than we had since we were dating. I had my space and free time, then I also had this guy who wanted nothing more than to shower me with attention. You were both so different, I liked sleeping with both of you. We were back to our wild, kinky, crazy stuff that you know I'm into, and he was the opposite. Simple, attentive, kind of sensually vanilla. Not that we don't do passionate, but it was just different. I was pretty worn out after this conversation, and we had several more over the weekend. It was Sunday afternoon, and Asher was still trying to get a hold of Olivia. I told her she should call him, and give some sort of closure. She fully agreed. When she called, she put it on speaker and I remained silent, just listening. She explained to him that I had found out about the affair, but not that I knew the whole time. That she was committing fully to her marriage and we were going to work through all of our issues. She admitted to me that after things got better she stopped talking about our marriage to him. He begged her to reconsider and said he loved her, you could tell that he really did. He truly believed through all of this that they would end up together, and had bought into the idea that she was just waiting for the right time to divorce me. I kind of felt sorry for him. As she tried to reassure him, and convince him that he needed to move on, he began to get a bit confrontational. Eventually he made a veiled threat at telling me everything. She told him that I already knew all about it and that she had come completely clean. She quickly ended the conversation after this and blocked him once again. The next week, while Olivia was at work, I heard a knock on the door. It was Asher. I stepped out to talk to him. I wasn't worried about a physical confrontation. I've got 3 inches and probably 40 pounds on the guy. He just started showing me evidence of their affair. He seemed a little manic. I told him to stop. I tried to be as empathetic as possible, but honestly didn't really care if he was upset. I told him I always knew about their affair and he could just save it. I figured it out when it started. I just didn't say anything or stop her because I didn't care. He was dumbfounded, and just turned and left. I told Olivia what happened and she went into a bit of a doom spiral. That's kind of been the norm the last few weeks. I am getting a little worn out from it. She got us some Recovering from Infidelity books and we've been reading them together, because she thinks we should. The thing is, it's all ass backwards. Like I'm the betrayed partner and she is the wayward partner, yet I spend all the time trying to reassure her. She has these huge crashes and triggers, and I'm the one trying to anticipate this stuff. She wants to talk, and check in on me, and make sure I'm fine, but I processed all this a long time ago. It's old news to me and I'm ready to get back to our routines. I have missed my last 3 D&D Wednesdays, didn't go to the fights last weekend even though that night had been planned for 2 months. I'm trying to be a good partner here, but the irony of the situation is not unnoticed. I'm thinking of putting in some hard boundaries in regards to affair talk. I am also pushing her to come clean to her sister. I need someone else to shoulder the burden of keeping Olivia together. Olivia and her sister, Cam 34F, have always been really close. I think in the long term we will be fine. I just needed to vent through this rough patch.